Welcome back, guys. If you are just joining us, this is INX Prime Live. Remember, we are on your screens every single Monday to Friday between the hours of 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. Now, tonight we are actually chatting to Fernando Makhani, who is also known as the Attitude Ambassador. Now, he has over 13 years of experience in motivational speaking as well as teaching. He's also seen as a beacon of inspiration and leadership and has influenced audiences from corporate clients to religious organizations as well as schools. Now, he is actually known for his unique blend of thought-provoking imagery, a lot of relatable stories, but also his humor is really good to inspire real change. And he also believes in the power of self-belief, attitude, and determination to help people achieve great things in their life, no matter what challenges they actually face. He's actually joining us in studio right now. Good evening, Fernando. Thank you so much for joining us here on INX Prime Live.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
No, it's a pleasure having you. I want to get into this this thing that you're known as, this term that you're known as, and I know that your name is Fernando, but they also call you Mr. Yellowbone a lot. But there's another name that they give you, right? And that is obviously the Attitude Ambassador. Tell us, how did this title come about? How did you end up getting this title?
The attitude ambassador, I believe that our attitude, there are two important elements in your life with which you are able to achieve anything you want, and without you are not able to achieve anything. One is the right mental attitude plus discipline. So with the right mental attitude, no man can stop a man with a great mental attitude from achieving anything. And also no man can help a man with a wrong mental attitude. So I then realized that if we can deal with our attitude, we are able to go far. Then I decided to become an attitude ambassador. So I'm an ambassador that advocates for the right mental attitude.
I think that's so important. And the two things they say that everyone has to be able to change and develop is having the right mindset, but also having the right attitude as well. I just want to touch on your own personal journey. I mean, when you're doing motivational speaking for such a long time like you have, you definitely come across a lot of different types of individuals, but you also learn throughout the journey yourself, right? What was your journey like throughout these 13 years of motivation?
I like when you say I'm a motivational speaker, but I always tell people that I'm not a motivational speaker. I am a motivated speaker. I'm an inspirational speaker. The reason I'm not a motivational speaker is that if you motivate an idiot, you get a motivated idiot. And a motivated idiot is a very dangerous idiot to our community. So I'm an inspirational speaker because inspiration comes from within. So if you look at the term motivation, you can tell yourself you want to run outside in the street for 1 kilometer. But if a pit bull gets out and starts chasing you, you can run 10 kilometers. But you were not motivated to run 10 kilometers. External motivation of a pit bull motivated you. So basically, I do not believe in external motivation. I believe in internal motivation, inspiration. And you asked a question about my journey in 13 years. I am one person who is scared of hunger. I fear being hungry. So hunger motivated me or inspired me to ensure that there's always food on the table. I can get as dirty as I can in order to ensure that there's food on the table.
I love that, and I think that's such a beautiful why to have. I just want to touch on, the kind of work that you're doing. And like we did mention, obviously 13 years, when you're speaking to a lot of people, the numbers increase very quickly. So you can start off doing it for a few months and it's hundreds of people. Then eventually over the years, it becomes thousands and hundreds of thousands of people that you've probably interacted and impacted as well. What was the most rewarding experience out of the 13 years that you've had so far?
Out of the 13 years, the most rewarding experience was when I was inspiring people out of South Africa. I was in Ghana, in the Ashanti region. And I met a gentleman who said to me, he had given up in life, but I've made him think and believe that he too can be something different. And believe me when I say the number of audience, it doesn't matter to me, because if I touch one person, that one person, I touch everyone that is attached to that one person, whether the enemy, the family, the friends, the neighbors. If I can be able to change one person's life, I change everyone around that one person. So my interest is in one person. Every time I go into the group or the hall or the audience, I say to people, if you don't get my message today, don't blame me. And don't blame yourself. You are just not yet ready for the message. The day you are ready for the message, even a street vendor, street kid, whatever in the street, will give you the message and it will make sense to you. So it is one thing which I like to tell people is that you must always be prepared and not get an opportunity than get an opportunity and not be prepared. So my goal is to keep on preparing people. I spend my time telling you about your preparation space because your preparation and your results does not stay in the same street.
I love that. And I think that's so powerful as well. We are getting comments and questions coming in from social media. And Neo was saying that you're such an inspiration. Thank you so much for, taking some time out to be on the show, just to be able to inspire people. But away from that, we're also getting a question from Manny. Well, it's more of a comment. Manny was saying that these motivational speakers act like they don't go through any challenges. It's more of a joke as well. I have a question for you on that. The fact that how do you end up staying motivated yourself, because it's all about mindset at the end of the day, right? How do you stay motivated when you go through some of maybe perhaps your own personal challenges? And also, do you go through your own personal challenges?
A lot. If you check, when we were still young as kids, we played soccer in the street. The only thing that we did was just to kick the ball around for the whole day. But currently, the big clubs, when they're playing, there's goalposts. And their main goal is to score a goal to the opponent. So if you have a goal, you focus on your goal. The challenge which people which people are experiencing now is they don't focus on their goals. They look at the current problem. If you look at your current problem, the problem will look bigger than you. But if you face the problem and tell the problem, come on, challenge me, let me deal this. There are times where you must sit down and reflect and ask yourself, why am I going through this? And during the process of going through, I'm the same boy who, when I was growing up, I had multiple cars. But I'm the same boy who, at one stage, I had to sell all the cars that I had. I had to get into a taxi. And I had to sit down and ask myself, did I lose the cars that I had? And in my thinking, I realized that if I had inherited those cars, I could have called it a loss. But because I knew how to get them, to me, it was not a loss. I then told myself, it is just a restarting phase. I just need to reset. I now know better, and I do, and I make my decisions better. I'm no longer living by the societal standards, which is one of the things that is killing our youth. We want to fit in, and not everywhere you fit in is where you belong.
That's very, very true, without a doubt. I just want to know also, in terms of the work that you do, in terms of collaborations as well, I know that you work very closely with the Lesedi Community Center in particular when it comes to providing skills development in that sense. Tell us a little bit more about the work that you do.
So basically, I run a company which is called Wealth Tech Academy. I'm one of the directors in the academy. And in our academy, we have partnered with the Lesedi Community Center to ensure that we take the people from the street, people who had nothing, give them skills. So I do things like skills development. I'm also a member of an organization which is called His Presence Foundation, which we go out there giving skills and develop youngsters who are unemployed and make them better entrepreneurs, which is the same thing that we're creating to the Lesedi community. We're saying, come. Don't sit down and wait for someone to employ you. Let us create you, let us help you, cultivate you to be an individual that can source himself or herself food, or who can be dependent. Because the challenge which we have now is our South African community or our youth are so dependent to a point that every day of our life we blame it on the government, blame it on corruption, we blame everything around us, but we exclude ourselves. So what I focus on is in building people, building youth. Like I tell you, I'm from the dusty streets of Venda. My mom was a street vendor, may her soul rest in peace. She passed on in June. My dad was a mere driver at Sun Hotel. So that young boy from that background, which I don't want to call it a poor background, I call it a preparation background. I can sit with you family today and say to you, I run multiple companies. And not because I inherited those companies, but because I told myself, I am an agent of change. There's a lot of people I met along the way who cultivated me to be where I am. And I continue to ensure that I build people. And if you cannot be built now, believe me, the reason will be you are not yet ready for that building. But the day you're ready, we will cultivate you and get you to the right space.
That's very, very powerful. Fernando, again, thank you so much for joining us tonight on INX Prime Live. We really did enjoy that conversation.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Awesome, guys. That is Fernando Makhani, who is also known as the Attitude Ambassador. I mean, he's been in the space for about 13 years now, working on skills development, but also motivating and inspiring an entire generation to become the best versions of themselves.